Hey everyone, it's Zeffy and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the big news that has just come out from Persona 5 the Phantom X Global, Japan, and C operations team, and that is basically this letter, I guess, to the players, to the fans, addressing all the feedback that that people have made over the past a couple months when this game released back in June. Basically just talking about everything and all the upcoming changes that are coming with patch 2.0, as well as future versions of the Western release, as well as Japan and C. Now this video is a little bit off the cuff. I literally just got back from a function. I saw this while actually just scrolling through Twitter, and I was actually amazed that they announced something like this. So I just thought I'd do a quick video going through everything. But TLDR, it seems like we might actually have our devs listen moment. It's a little bit of a caveat to that around the center banner changes, but I'll get into that once we get into the review, I guess, or the letter that we talk about. But all I can say is it's a step in the right direction. I'm very excited about 2.0. I was right that I did say that if they're going to do any changes, it would be in 2.0 because it's a big patch. And just like with the other regions like CN, Taiwan, and Korea, basically 2.0 for them was also a big turning point for P5X in general. So I guess 2.0 will be a big turning point for Global and C and Japan as well. Now, before we get into it, leave a like, subscribe, follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. Join the Gacha Rebels Discord, link in the description. We have an amazing community over there, and we honestly just have a good time talking about gacha games, anime, everything you really could want. P5X, obviously. Link in the description. Join it now. Do it. All right, so I'm just gonna get into it. Again, this is a little bit impromptu because it's pretty big news. I wanted to try and get this video out as quickly as possible. So, greetings thieves, thank you for your patience and ongoing support. Since launch this past June, we received a significant amount of player feedback. We've heard your feedback, and while some aspects haven't met expectations, we're committed to making meaningful improvements. In this letter, we hope to address your questions, concerns based on the feedback we have received so far, which is, again, a good step in the right direction, especially regarding differences between the Chinese and Asia versions, the contract systems, and shed some light on future updates. So they do actually go into quite a bit of detail here, so I'll go through. And I like how they do a comparison as well, because there were definitely a lot of misinformation between people thinking X was happening on Chinese and Asian versions where it really wasn't actually happening. And then, they think that, we got shafted as a sort of, as a side effect or whatever. Anyway, there's a lot of misconceptions around a lot of different things, but anyway, they basically discuss it here, so I'll get into it. So implementation of a new contract system. We have received a lot of requests to implement the contracts that guarantee the most wanted fast-side characters, which is basically the guarantee banner, the 110. If you've been watching my live streams for Taiwan, for example, you get the 110 guarantee banner, as in the Chinese Asian versions, and we're currently considering this implementation for the Japanese and Western versions as well. So we did know that this was coming. I believe this actually released around 6 months after release. I think they say it here as well for Chinese, Taiwan, and Korea. But it looks like we could get it sooner. So I don't think they specifically mentioned when we could get it, but people have been speculating that we might be getting it in 2.0 or possibly even 2.1 when the summer event and stuff come. So the current main contract system is the 79 ones. So they explain it a little bit. They explain a little bit about the pity and the rates and stuff like that. Because again, a lot of people are thinking that soft pity doesn't exist. To be fair, I have basically went to hard pity every single time. It's not a hero there, to be honest. I'm not that fussed at the moment. And they talk about the new contract system that will be implemented. Please wait for future announcement for further details. So again, not confirmed, but it's basically 110, and you are guaranteed the most wanted 5-star character. So the pity for both those banners do not carry over. So if you pull on the guaranteed banner, your pity will not carry over on the 50/50 banner, and vice versa as well. So yeah, they do actually say here in the Chinese Asia versions, this contract was implemented 6 months after release. For the Western and Japanese version, we are currently making adjustments in order to release it earlier, which I think is a very good change. I think it was a great quality of life change in general when it came to the Asian regions, for example. I was a bit surprised, and I made a video about this, that it didn't come to global straight away. And I got absolutely roasted that it was going to be unfair for the Chinese audience, which I get. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand. But it looks like we could be getting it earlier, which is definitely a good thing, I think. After the release of this new contract system, the current contract system will also continue to be made available. So yes, you can pull on either banner, whichever one you really want. and then differing rates and draw counts and stuff like that. You can read more details when the stuff is out. I can't remember off the top of my head the numbers, but yeah, they're basically talking about the guarantee banner. So it looks like this is confirmed to be coming earlier to global. So that is a very, very good change. This one was a big one that a lot of people were upset about. So Minami's cognitite and awareness, as I'm going to call it, and her 5-star weapon as well from Lufel's Business Plan 3. So in the Japanese Western versions, Plan 3 and 4 were implemented earlier compared to the Chinese and Asian versions. In the Chinese Asia versions, Minami Miyashita was already available in the gold ticket contracts, the standard banner, when Plan 3 and 4 were implemented. As a result, there is a difference in the rewards for Plan 3 and 4 between the two versions. We are very sorry for this inconvenience, which is fair enough. Like, they just kind of need to address it, and I guess they have addressed it. Doesn't necessarily mean, like people are going to be happy about it still. Probably not. But just wait for those who are doom posting. I can already tell. I can already see you typing it in the comments there. The EOS soon, right? Speedrun EOS. For the Japanese Western versions, we plan to provide a new method for players to obtain the cognitite and weapon. We're preparing a special campaign that will also benefit those who obtain duplicates of Minami and her weapon. The details for this campaign will be in the latter half of this letter. So we are actually getting a global exclusive event and campaign, Japanese and Western exclusive event and campaign to be able to obtain Minami's awareness as well as her 5-star weapon. So, again, details later on, as you said there. So they have basically pretty much brought it back. Instead of getting it on Lufel's Business Plan 3, you'll just be able to get it from this exclusive event, essentially. So, addition of new characters to the gold ticket contracts and contract system, basically. So this is the standard banner changes. Now, this is the part of the letter where I honestly thought, now that they're addressing it in the letter, I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like, they're gonna, maybe not make it 6 months. Anyway, we'll keep reading and I'll give my thoughts. So we have received a lot of feedback and requests regarding the addition of new characters to the Phantom Idol Draft X, which uses gold tickets. In the Chinese Asia version, some 5-star Phantom Idols, including the ones listed below, were added to the standard banner immediately after their most wanted period. In the Japanese Western versions, we plan to add them roughly 6 months after their initial release. Among these characters that will appear in the game up to version 1.4, the Phantom Idols that will be added to the Phantom Idol Draft X are as follows. And you basically only really get Minami and Yumi, so it doesn't even look like you get Cherish at this point. Each character's 5-star will also be added to the arms deal at the same time. So it looks like they have doubled down that they are going to be releasing standard banner for 6 months. I do not agree with this change. I do believe that 6 months is just a really long time for 2 units going to standard. And basically, if you have all the standard units, and especially if you have Rin, for example, who is probably the best standard unit they can possibly get, or one of the ones that you definitely want to get because you most likely will have Ahn, Ryuji, and Morgana, for example, then there's really no reason to go for any standard banner pulls unless you're trying to pull some A6 Vinos, for example, or A6 Okyans, or something like that. There's really no point in pulling on the standard banner because you don't actually get any new characters, and dupes for those characters that I just mentioned are not that great. So it's not really efficient to use your gold tickets on this banner. And it looks like they have doubled down. It looks like it will be about 6 months after release. Again, I don't agree with this change personally. You can let me know in the comments down below what you think. Looks like they've doubled down. It looks like that is pretty much confirmed that that's going to be happening. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you're only really adding Minami and Yumi. I don't know how they're going to do Cherish. Like Cherish, I believe Cherish roughly came out around about the 6 month mark on the Chinese and Asian versions. So we'll see what happens. But unfortunately, it looks like the standard banner changes roughly 6 months after coming to the standard banner is here to stay. In my opinion, it just makes the standard banner a little bit redundant, but whatever. Like, they've addressed it. Like they're saying, they've received a lot of feedback, but it looks like they're doubling down on that decision. So it is what it is. I'm disappointed to say the least, but it is what it is. Like I can't, unfortunately, the amount of feedback that we gave them, it can't change their mind. So anyway. Back onto a positive note, frequency of new characters and free rewards. We have received feedback saying that due to the speed of updates, it is difficult for players to save up contracts, currencies, such as tickets and coins. Now, I was very surprised they actually addressed this because, again, most gacha games don't give a shit about F2P players. Like, they just don't, right? They want people to spend money. That's the whole point of the game. That's the whole point of how they make make money. So them actually addressing it is a great step in the right direction. Great work, great work. So they say, obtaining tickets, platinum, gold, and Miller coins, we have prepared multiple avenues for players to obtain contracts, currency, tickets, and coins, such as through login rewards and by playing through the content. We plan to release a large-scale update with version 2.0 in September. To celebrate this update, players will be able to obtain 20 platinum tickets and 20 Miller coins through the login bonus. So what that says to me is they are doing a big update for 2.0, which possibly could mean additional rewards, additional events, additional exclusive events. Again, this is all speculation at this point, but that's what the wording says to me. And in order to celebrate this big update, you'll be able to obtain 20 platinum tickets and 20 platinum Miller coins through a login bonus. And that's in addition to the large-scale update for 2.0. So, yeah, anyway, that's how I interpret the wording. Obviously, again, I could be wrong in that sense. I've literally only just started recording this and reading through this. So, but that's good. It's great. They have addressed that the players' feedback about the sped up, the banners and everything sped up basically. And the fact that they've said that, look, we know that's happening. We're going to give you a little bit of extra rewards to help alleviate that pressure. It's very, very good. Now, this one was interesting as well. I guess this probably applies a little bit less to like F2P players, but paid items, we like to share details on the paid item offerings in the shop. So we all do know that some of them are different. In terms of value-wise, the Asian region shops actually give you more value for your money. However, with the global and Western releases, it is a little bit skewed and is a little bit different and actually gives you a little bit less value for your money, even factoring like conversion rates and stuff like that. It's not that big of a deal. It wasn't that massive, but you can definitely tell because it was different, obviously. So in the Japanese Western version, some items that were offered in the shop compared to the Chinese Asian versions were changed. These changes were made to comply with platform regulations as well as the laws in Japan and the countries of Western versions, which is true because again, I'm not too sure about Japan, but Western countries, yeah, for sure. I know a lot of countries actually do ban like gacha games and all that sort of stuff for gacha stuff or gambling stuff. We also plan to offer new items for the Japanese Western versions to replace the items that cannot be sold, which is good. To be honest, I can't remember off the top of the head what those items are actually. Although it is difficult to have the item offerings be exactly the same between the two versions, we'll do our best to make sure the overall value of the items is as close as possible, which I think is the main thing that people wanted. If you were spending money and you were, you didn't know about sort of the changes between the Asian regions. Obviously, if you just played global and stuff, you probably didn't even know about the value difference. But there was a slight tweaking and a slight change. But anyway, it's good that they've addressed it. It's good that they've said, we're going to do our best to make it as fair as possible between, both versions of the game. All right, this is a fun one. So upcoming features and campaigns. We like to talk through upcoming features and campaigns that are planned for version 2.0, which again, I did say, and everyone in my live streams will know that I always have said that 2.0 is going to be a big one. And this is where they can really dunk on all those Doom posters and EOS posters heads. I mean, standard banner changes aside, I guess. But this is what they're doing. So tasks, which are the commissions, which I know a lot of people, especially in the Gacha Rebels, were asking about because they see me playing on Taiwan, for example. So these are basically your daily commissions. We are currently working on a feature where players can obtain various items by dispatching characters of their choosing through tasks, name not final. Players can obtain a special item once a week called the Thieves Cognitive Shard, which is basically just an awareness shard. Players can exchange 60 of these for a special item called Cognitite, which is an awareness that can be used to increase the awareness level of a character. We plan to release this feature in version 2.0. And I believe tasks actually came out after 6 months on the Asian regions, I believe. Don't quote me. But it definitely did not come out in 2.0. It came out in like 2.x, I think. Maybe just after Futaba, if I remember correctly. But regardless, it didn't come out in 2.0, but it looks like we're getting tasks earlier, which is nice. Lufel's Business Plan EX, name not final. We plan to add an expansion to Lufel's Business Plan as a brand new feature for Japanese and Western versions. So this is brand new. This is brand new, guys. So this is basically exclusive for Western regions as well as Japan. The rewards for this feature will make it easier for players to forge their 5-star weapons and can be obtained through daily play. We'll announce when this feature will be added at a later date. So not too sure what exactly this is, because it's brand new, but it does sound like something pretty neat. You can forge 5-star weapons, so maybe make it easier to get 5-star weapons. Again, don't really know. But regardless, getting something exclusive that you can get, a 5-star weapon, not just like a 4-star, for example, is very, very nice of them. So we'll just have to wait and see. But again, it's a good change. And then Thief's Cognitive Shard. By gaining 60 of these rare items, players can exchange it for an awareness using Awaken the awareness of characters. In the Chinese and Asian versions, the awareness can only be used to awaken characters that are on the standard banners. In the Japanese and Western versions, this feature will also extend to other 5-star characters such as Ren, Minami, Yui, Yusuke, Queen, and Yumi. This is amazing. Like, this is actually amazing. Considering that to get these 60 awareness shards, you literally just have to do the tasks every day, once a week. So, obviously it will take you a long time. It'll take you 60 weeks. But regardless, you can actually use it on these limited characters that they've mentioned here, which is, I think, personally speaking, is a pretty big deal. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but it is pretty good, especially for people who, for example, for Queen, who weren't able to pull for Queen's A1, for example, and, maybe don't want to pull for a rerun because there's a new character coming out. Eventually, you'll be able to get the A1 for Queen, for example. Again, it will cost, take a lot of time, but it's nice that they're doing it, I guess. In version 2.0, some of the characters above will be available for exchange. Details will be, wait, what? Hang on, I misread this completely. In version 2.0, some of the characters above will be available for exchange. Details will be announced at a later date. This item can be attained from the task feature that we released. Okay, I'm not too sure what this is. I'm going to do some more research. I might make this a pinned comment if it's something like, if it's what I'm thinking it is. I don't know what he means by exchange, but we could get these characters from what? Like, wait, what? I'm sure it's not what I think it means. But anyway, regardless, like, read into that what you will. Thieves Cognitive Shard and 5-star weapons, special gift campaigns. This is the previously mentioned campaign for the Minami stuff. So around mid to late September, we plan to hold a special campaign exclusive to Japanese and Western versions where players can obtain Phantom Thieves Cognitive Shards and a 5-star weapon. In this campaign, players will have the opportunity to obtain 60 Thieves Cognitive Shards that can be exchanged for the Cognitite or one of the available 5-star characters. Following that, we also plan to hold a gift campaign where players can select one 5-star weapon to obtain. Oh shit, okay. So you can get basically a free awareness for one of these characters that they just mentioned, Ren, Minami, Yui, Yusuke, Queen, etc., etc. And then they'll also hold a gift campaign where you can obtain their 5-star weapon. The selection lineup also includes Minami's 5-star weapon. Other weapons, including the lineup, will be announced later. Okay. The details and time of the campaigns will be announced at a later date. We hope you can make full use of the opportunity to gain these very high value items. So it looks like this exclusive campaign, you can get an awareness for one of those characters that I just mentioned, and you can get a 5-star weapon, especially if you haven't pulled for them. Pretty big deal if I'm being completely honest, especially because they didn't have to do any of this stuff, They didn't have to do any of this stuff. But I'm glad that they are doing it. It shows that they are listening a little bit, but that's actually pretty big because I know a lot of people weren't able to pull necessary for their weapons, and now you can basically get it for free essentially with this event. But anyway, details and all that sort of stuff comes at a later date, but that's sort of what I'm reading into when I read this, read the sentence, I guess. And then closing words. Thank you very much for reading all the way to the end. We want to use this letter as an opportunity to address feedback regarding differences between the different versions, new initiatives with the Japanese Western versions. In this letter, we hope to answer some of the feedback regarding the differences, blah, blah. We noticed progressing through the palaces in one continuous playthrough. Oh yeah, this is actually pretty big as well. And smaller things like building characters are reserved for shorter daily sessions. We hope to enhance our players' experience with some form of change or growth in their daily play through these new initiatives, which I'm sure, they would. 2.0 was a big patch, especially with Palace 3, writing and stuff, went through the roof basically just because the person who wrote P5R who did Palace 3 and Palace 4. We talked about Lufel's business plan EX improvements, blah, 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 blah. We will continue to communicate with our players on the website and all that sort of stuff. Now, the future one was very interesting. We are currently preparing initiatives that will release around the same time for both the Japanese and Chinese Asia versions. Preparations are currently underway so that we can provide a new experience to all regions simultaneously. simultaneously. Let me zoom in there. Please look forward to the future announcements. In addition to the campaigns and features detailed in this letter, we plan to have various events and story additions with each update. We will strive to provide a better gaming experience for all our players moving forward. So this is pretty big. Now, this could literally just mean like a skin or an event. Like I know a lot of people were speculating the Queen summer skin, for example. But even so, it basically means that they are making plans to basically do certain content and certain things, or maybe synergy, storylines, whatever, simultaneously between both regions. So it does seem like they are very, very committed to try and making this work with two different versions and trying to marry them up eventually. Again, like I don't think they can, because it's like, what are you going to do with the other? You're going to pause the China version? Like, no, you can't do that, right? So, but regardless, it's very interesting what they're doing. We'll see how that plays out in the future. But overall, I am very happy with what they've done. They've mostly addressed most of the pain points around sort of the sped up timing of everything. That basically we're getting more rewards to compensate, which is nice. Again, we'll see the details later if that actually is what they're saying. We're getting the guarantee banner early, which is huge, especially for those who get really unlucky and have to go to hard pity twice, for example, which I know a lot of the Gash Rebels, for example, as well as the community in general have been doing, myself included. We're doing the Minami Miyashita plus actually additional of all the other previous 1.0 to 1.4 characters can obtain an awareness for them, can also obtain their 5-star weapon, which is huge, especially if you didn't pull for their 5-star weapon, or you didn't have enough pulls, or you were saving for this, saving for cord, etc., etc. That's really big event, and it's also global exclusive. And then stuff like paid items, which is not too important, but we also get systems like the task system earlier as well, which is really, really nice. And we also get an exclusive Lufel business plan EX as well, which I mentioned before. But regardless, I think it's a step in the right direction, as I said before. Definitely please discuss in the comments down below. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts about what you think about this update, what you think about what the devs are doing. Are you happy with the changes? Are you happy that they've at least addressed some of the concerns? Do you think this is going to turn Persona 5, the Phantom X global, and other regions around? Definitely let me know. Personally speaking, it's a step in the right direction. Will it turn the game around necessarily? We'll have to wait and see what the details around everything they've said in this letter actually is. But I do believe that, and then I've said this from the very beginning, I do believe that 2.0 will be a turning point for this game that has every opportunity to implement a lot of different changes and a lot of different systems as outlined in this letter into 2.0. And I'm happy that they've done that. Standard banner changes, I'm still not really convinced on and happy about, but it looks like they're doubling down on that. So we probably can't change their mind on that, which is a bit of a shame. But other than that, I'm glad that they've at least addressed stuff and at least actually had a very competent letter for once. But we'll just have to wait and see for further details. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video and enjoyed Persona 5 the Phantom X, definitely don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, follow on Twitch as well. I stream P5X as well as other anime gacha games as well. But yeah, I'm super excited for the future of this game. I'm super excited for patch 2.0. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are as well. And yeah, join the Gacha Rebels and let's keep on discussing what everyone thinks. But yeah, before I sign off, thanks again for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. I'll leave a link to this letter so you can read it yourself and see how you can interpret it. But regardless, it's pretty good. It's step in the right direction. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, those statements don't come to bite me in the back. The devs listened. We are back. Peak is back, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.